Hey everyone, it's Jason. Welcome back to Black Rose Wars and the SATOR Kickstarter stretch goal box. As a reminder, this is for the original version of Black Rose Wars, and not the revised or Rebirth. Rebirth is the spiritual successor sequel game, basically, updated some stuff. And then the revised edition will be a re-implementation of the core box and some of the expansions to fit the Rebirth model, which did update and fix some stuff. As of this video, they said they're not reprinting they're not reprinting the SATOR, this stretch goal box. Does not mean they might not over time reprint parts of it. The One School Void has been reprinted in the Lex box, or the Ghouls Void box. Not the Lex box, the Void box has been void. So it's possible they'll occasionally maybe come back and pull some of these out, or they might re-implement them somewhere else, but they had no intentions of reprinting it as a one-to-one. There's also supposed to be an upgrade for this set, for the expansion for this, up to the new stuff, so they might reprint the schools and stuff, and some of the character cards and stuff to fix that, but I don't know what's in there because the video hasn't been released yet. So if you didn't watch part one, what I went through is just a brief overview of what was everything in the box, as well as some of the new implemented rules for some of the new stuff that kind of again brought it more into what Rebirth eventually did, as a base thing. And then what we're doing with the rest of the box is we're breaking it down, much like Rebirth's Rotas box did, is into 6 different little mini expansions, plus we'll do a separate video for solo mode. So each one will just be each one will just be its own separate thing. It'll have somewhere between 2+ mages in it, 1 to 2 schools in it, any evocations that are relevant to that, and then there's the campaign mode, which we'll also go through. Each one, so I broke it up into each campaign for each video, then that way, it's kind of breaking them down, taking everything in chunks. And then each of the videos, just as a thing before we hop into them, is I broke them down as my own names I gave them, are Corrupt Power, Ancient Times, that one will also have the Sin Tempor crossover in it, Rising Sun, Legendary Tales, Natural Force, and Learning Curve. And again, so there'll be 6 different videos there, as well as, right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it'll be six videos there, as well as the solo play, and then finally the very last video I'll do is I'll actually do a comparison to all the different reprinted cards. So let's go ahead and hop into this video. Hey everyone, it's Jason. Welcome back to Black Rose Wars, the SATOR Kickstarter stretch goal box. This is, again, as a reminder, the original Black Rose Wars game, not the Rebirth or the upcoming revised edition. So if you haven't checked out the rest of the SATOR Kickstarter box, we did several different little mini expansions, kind of breaking the box up into a couple of mages, couple of schools, couple of scenarios in each box. This is the last thing I have for the actual box for new content, which is solo mode. So I want to do a completely separate video since it's just a couple extra different stuff. So it's going to play like the regular game, except instead of obviously competing against other players, you're competing kind of against an AI-controlled character. Now there's the Avatar, which you can do that again as well, with Rebirth added that, which probably kind of sort of takes place of this, but this is still a neat thing to even look at because it kind of started it. There's brand new quest decks, brand new event decks, and some brand new evocation cards that work towards them. So we're going to go ahead and look at what's all in that. So to start off, there's a bunch of new activation tokens for a couple of different rooms that are going to play different in solo mode. We'll look at those in a minute. We're going to have 15 new quest cards that are specifically for solo mode. We have 15 events for solo mode, which are going to act a little bit differently. Then we have evocation tokens, a Perillium token, and Black Rose evocations. So we'll kind of look at each one of them as we go through. But how do we play the game? Let's kind of get into that quick. So run the standard game step as indicated in the Black Horse core box, except step 1 and 2 are the same. Step 3, replace the activation tokens indicated in the game components of the solo play mode and use the remaining activation tokens provided in the core box. So you want to use these specific ones. Now here's going to be the thing is, can I use stuff from the SATOR expansion? set? Or can I use stuff from Inferno or Chronos or Rebirth or Lex, the dual set, or anything else? The idea is supposed to be played with just the core box. Can you switch stuff out? You probably obviously can do whatever you want. It's your game. But as you switch out more things, they're not balanced for being used by solo play. So they're gonna kind of be more generalized. And I think the idea is the AI that you're fighting in solo mode won't be able to make use of lots of them as efficiently or as effectively as some of the other ones. So could you switch out to other rooms or use other game mechanics and stuff like that? Possibly, but it's not the idea of it. Place a single mage cell face up on the game board as you wish, because you're by yourself. Indicated, do step 5 as normal. 6 and 7. Use the suspension material. Keep the evocation deck from the base game close to the power board, but do not mix with the evocation of the Black Rose. So you still need the original one because you are using yours to summon guys, but the Black Rose has its own because they're going to work differently. Do step 8 to say 9, 10, 11. Ignore these steps. It's probably for setting up grimoires and stuff. So step code. Place your mage token in the Black Rose token in the PowerPoint button. Set the Perillium and its value to 0. So it has a little Perillium meter. Let's take a quick look at that. It's going to have a -5 on there, and if we go all the way down 4, 3, 2, 1, and then 0, and that's going to have a +1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is going to be used to determine various things that are going to happen in the game. So it starts at 0. And then things will either move it up or down. And it's going to kind of determine how the bad guys attack. We kind of see a very similar thing in the, I believe it was the Inferno box. Choose and compose one of the pre-constructed decks is indicated on the following pages and add personal spells to it. Choose a game difficult between easy, medium, hard. Shuffle the Black Rose evocation deck. Draw 4 cards as you choose. If you choose easy, 6 if you choose medium, 8 if you choose hard. Place the model of the first solo evocation card directly into the Black Rose room. Place the second one into the throne room, and then continue to place the other ones so they're adjacent to the Black Rose room, starting clockwise after the throne room until all Black Rose evocations are placed. So this is one thing that's very different, is the opponent starts with a bunch of evocations already in the room. This is probably so that you have something to target, because again, if we're kind of comparing this to the Avatar mode from Rebirth, in that game you actually have a different person that's playing, or a different mage that's out, and they're always going to be a target as a mage. This instead, you're kind of fighting off against the Black Rose room itself as an evocation. Note, when playing hard difficulty, you must place 8 evocation in the place you draw the final evocation into the Black Rose room of the first. The infamy creators present among the cards drawn, replace it with another, and reshuffle the deck. So how do we play in solo? The game of solo, all of the modes, are the same structure as a regular game. Any choice made during the combat is not covered by the rules in the game made by the player. The phase of the game worked in a standard game, with the following exceptions. The Black Rose phase. Follow the core rules, but only use solo events. The effects of the events must be resolved in order. Effect A, then Effect B, with typically summon enemies under the Black Rose control. The study phase. In this mode, the library is not present, and the mage only draw cards from his or her grimoire. Each game effect indicates to draw. The library will point to the grimoire. In this phase, the mage draws 4 cards, puts them in their hand together with any cards held in the previous round. So you don't have a library to choose from. Instead, you're going to start with a mixed deck of cards. Preparation stays the same. Action phase. The player takes the mage's turn, 2 actions in the base game. Each spell that targets another mage can target the Black Rose evocations in this mode. Produce their effects if possible. Power points stolen from the mages are taken from the Black Rose. Once the player's turn is over the Black Rose turn, the player can control the activation of the evocations followed by the rules indicated in their activation box, which is up above. We'll get that in a sec. In the mage's turn, the Black Rose will continue to alternate until the mage runs out of the last available action. Using all his physical actions, reveal the last of his spells. At this point, the action phase ends. So you actually get the last turn. And then the evocation phase. In this phase, the Black Rose acts over a player following the core rules of the mage. Once the player's turn is over, they'll check the activation for Black Rose, following the rules indicating activation above. The difference between all those present will be activated, regardless of the current mage's Perillium value, and then the cleanup rules. So how does this work? When it's the turn of the Black Rose Black Rose, the player activates evocations by these following points. The mage compares the value of his Perillium with the aggressive value of each Black Rose evocation present in the lodge. All evocations with aggressiveness equal to or less than the player's Perillium will activate. The activation of these auras is based on the present yellow spell. So each one, since it's just a step in the core set. Once the evocation is activated, perform the following step actions from the top. The action must be able to perform entirely, otherwise move on to the next. Moves towards the mage and attacks them. If it can't do that, it moves to reach them, moves to reach the evocation controlled by the mage and attacks it. If it can't reach either of them, moves to the closest mage, always choosing to stay in rooms with the least Black Rose evocation. So it wants to spread itself out as much as possible. During the evocation phase, the Black Rose turn, all its evocation lodge will activate regardless if they're indicated on the Perillium. So during their turn, only certain ones are going to activate. So like, I'll take my turn, cast my spell, then they get to activate, something might activate. Then I take my turn again, then they activate. Then when we get the evocation phase, I get to do all my evocations, then they get to use everybody available. So the more you can take out, definitely the better. Power points at the end of the game. Earning power points. During the game of solo play, the score is calculated differently than in the base game. To track power points earned in the player's power bar, use the following rules. Solo quests. The quests can confer the amount of power points indicated resolved. Once resolved, they must be discarded. In this mode, the number of quests resolved does not get an additional score. So it's just how many you just get points for completing them. Solo events. These events contain a goal. If the mage manages to satisfy the request contained therein, the players immediately gain the indicated points and removes the solo play event from the board and discarding it. A trophy. Only the Black Rose can earn trophies in this mode. Each trophy in possession of the Black Rose in a game rewards it with 3 PP. Destroyed room. When a room is destroyed, whoever has the most instability on it immediately gains the amount of PP indicated on the activation token. Token is then discarded. You don't keep it, and the crown is not used because you're the only player. End of the game. The game ends when the Black Mage or Rose reaches 30 PP on the board. At this point, add the PP obtained from trophies to the score of the Black Rose. Once you obtain the final score, decide the winner of the game. So very cool. Then we have some pre-constructed decks to look at. So let's take a quick look at those. I don't have all the cards up here, but they have 3 ones built already. So they have the Annihilator, the Dominator, and the Gatherer. So Annihilators use like Conspiracy, some Destruction, Divination, Illusion, Necromancy, Transmutation. So a little bit from all 6 schools. Dominator use which is heavy on Destruction, and then a little bit more heavy on Necromancy and Transmutation. So kind of damaging. Dominator has Destruction, Divination, Illusion, Necromancy, and Transmutation. So a little bit higher on Necromancy and Divination, so kind of playing with the board. And then Gatherer has Conspiracy, Destruction, Divination, Necromancy, and Transmutation, with a heavy on the 3, Conspiracy, Divination, and Transmutation. So very cool. So now, here's another question. Can you make up your own deck? Can you play something different? You could say, hey, I just want to play just Destruction School, and that's all I want to do. You can definitely do that if you like. You just build up a spell with the correct number of cards. If you want to be, I want to have a library built with, I want to make my own. I want to use some of the stuff from the SATOR box or Rebirth or add some other different sets in there. You can definitely make your own. You just have to have the same number of cards as what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 cards, which is an odd number to have. 18. There's 18 cards. Maybe there's 18 some. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I'm counting 19, 18, and 20. So there might be different amounts each one depending on what it is. But that's very well, because if you're playing your own game, as you're playing through, you end up with different amounts of cards as well. So you could customize your own. So let's go back and take a look at some of these other things and how they work. So we have the evocation tokens. So we're going to have a bunch here that are going to have the numbers on them. So these work instead of your power points. Or your, not your power points, your little rose pings. So the Black Rose is going to use these instead. So if you're playing for each different color, you're going to have 3, you have 5 of these guys, 5 of this color, and they're going to tie into the specific mages. So if I'm looking at my Langer Schnitzing, it's going to have the LN with the 1. So I have 8 of these. So I can have up to 8. So each time I get one, I'm going to place a 1, then a 2, then a 3, then a 4. So it's going to go that direction. If, for example, I summon a Malakota, it's going to have the yellow one. So I'll use one of the yellow symbols. There's only 3 of them. So that's how you're going to be able to tell each one. So like the Divine Altars have purple. And I think there's 5 of those. So you get some different ones for each one of those. On the back side, they're going to be the same numbers. So these work just like the ones they do in... they work the same way they're going to work in Inferno. Now again, comparing this a little bit to the Avatar system is actually playing as a full mage. They summon evocations like anybody else would summon, like a mage would. They put the little ring bases on the bottom. So if you're trying to do... So that's why solo mode's a little bit different. Alright, so we have that. So our Black Rose gains evocation. The marker showing the increasing number indicated must be placed in the base of the model. And then we have the Paralium meter. So the number of guesses can be set with a value of -5 to +5. Starting at the game, mage will start at 0. During the game, the value of the Paralium must always be set indicated to the value equal to the difference between the power points of the player and the Black Rose. So elements of the game might increase or decrease the value of the Paralium. Any effects that bring it beyond +5 must be ignored. So if I'm at 5 points and the Black Rose is up to 10, I am -5 behind it. And it's just a quick way to keep track of that number without having to keep re-looking at the board and recounting it. So every time they increase, you can adjust the counter on it really quick. So, but yeah, if you start gaining ahead, then you're going to be like, I'm up to 5 ahead of them. I'm 3 points ahead. And this is going to indicate how they attack and who can attack you, because that way, if you're in the lead, they're going to want to attack you. If you're falling behind, they're going to ignore you, is kind of the idea. So here are evocation cards. So these cards contain the stats when you use the Black Rose controls any evocation and are for use only during the solo play mode. Anytime a player controls any evocation, even during solo play, there's an evocation card provided in the core game. These new evocations present are additional information necessary to manage their activation. So the little Paralium biome is our aggressiveness. When it's time to activate a Black Rose, each evocation will only act if the Paralium value is equal to or higher than the aggressive value. So these guys will act as long as you're at -5 or higher. So they'll pretty much act whenever. So if you're falling way behind, these guys won't start to activate. So like the Bone Knight is only going to activate if you're at 0. So you have to be a little bit closer to that. But yeah, so like if you're higher than that, so as long as you're winning, they're going to keep attacking you. But if you start to fall behind for any reason, watch these guys won't attack you. I was trying to see if we had... Yeah, so like even like the Malakota's at a 1. And the Infernal rules do the exact same thing as this. They just have more difficult, they have more bigger numbers in there. So the identification code, each Black Rose evocation has an identification code consisting of the colored icon, which indicates 2 letters of the name and an increasing number value. When it's summoned, the evocation of a specific type summons with the lowest progressive number. When the evocation model is placed on the game board, place the corresponding code and an increasing number must be placed on its base. This way you can always identify evocation and see which model it corresponds to each evocation card. So I summon the first... so if I summon my first Langershits, I'm going to use the level 1. And then when I summon the second one, I'm going to use the number 2. And then when I summon the third one, I'm going to use the 3. And this way is that way you can keep track of, oh, I damaged the guy with 1. You know which one, if you put your damage tokens on their card, you know which one you damaged. So it's pretty simple there. So look at event cards here. Replace the core set of event cards. So they have A up on the top. It says number and type of evocation summoned by the Black Rose. The effect is performed only once and when the card is revealed. B is the main action of the Black Rose card, so what it does. C is the position it's in, like normal, and then it'll move over and discard. And then D is the special objective. It has to be solved to earn the indicated power points and immediately remove it from the event board. Which I don't think it gets points then. It's trying to solve it before they get points. And then quests are quest cards. So they all work the same. Cool. So let's take a look at our rooms quick. Now I didn't bring out the actual rooms for each one. We're just going to look at the activation tokens. Now, all the stuff on here are going to have a little tiny mage symbol on them, so you know that they're part of the first player or the solo play session. The new Black Rose room has you must discard 3 spells from your hand to your memories, draw the first 3 forgotten spells, choose one at your end. Otherwise, push the others to the bottom of the forgotten spell, and in any order you like. Once played, a forgotten spell must be removed from the game during the cleanup phase. So it works like normal. Yeah, so it just makes it a little bit easier, because before you have to have 4, so now you have to have 3. Makes it a little bit less abusive. Up next, we have the arena. So says choose a Black Rose evocation, shift it into this room, play a spell from your hand. If the move evocation is still alive, it attacks you. So this just lets you pull a guy to your room and play a spell on it right away. So you might hopefully be able to destroy it or do something with that. We have for gray, we have the Crypt. Choose a Black Rose evocation that has aggressiveness value equal or less than your pillar. Move it to reach this room. So this lets you move it to that room, bringing it to you. So now there's a difference. They might be like, but red just said you also put it in the room. But the difference is red is shifting it, which is basically teleports it from its space to that space, where the Crypt is you're summoning it to you, so it has to move through rooms. So it could potentially walk through traps. And that could set off different traps or a protection spell or something if it has to be in a certain room. So that's the difference there. For yellow, we have a Biblioteca. It says, during the cleanup phase, choose a spell in your mage sheet and return it to your hand. You cannot return a forgotten spell to your hand. This lets you bring back one of your spells rather than discarding it to your memories. It just lets you play a little bit longer. We have some replacements for the blue. We have the Abyss. It says, choose a Black Rose evocation in this room or adjacent one that has an aggressive value equal to or less than your prey and remove that evocation. So, again, you can take them out. We have the Mirrors room. Copy the effect of an already activated room. Beware, this effect does not resolve the quest of the copied effect. The activated room is always the mirror room. You cannot copy the effect of the Black Rose room. It means it always is that room. So, like, let's say I recopy the Crypt to move a guy. It doesn't mean, oh, you've activated a black room. It doesn't count as that. So very interesting there. We have the Pleasures room, which says move one of the events from the event board, one space forward or backward. The space must not be currently occupied by another event card. So very cool, but very limited in how it can be used, possibly. But of course, you can complete events and get them off the board. And then we have the Throne room, which has Perilium -1. So reduce your Perilium value by 1 till the end of the game turn. So this can be a great way to hop into that room. If you're winning the game and you're heading up, you can go ahead and reduce it by 1. So maybe then something might not attack you. Like let's say you're currently at +2. So anything that says, oh, it'll attack you at 2, attack you at 2 or 3, it'll hit you. So you can move. It basically just reduces it to 1 for the turn, not permanently, because you still have a difference in PP. But it's a neat mechanic with that. The aggressiveness level, because it means if you are losing, you're falling behind. So the Black Rose has been taking you out and getting points and stuff, and getting the quests have been completed, or the events are completed. You're not going to have all these evocations attacking you. So it's going to give you more chance to take them out. And you don't get points for defeating them. So yeah, you have a little bit more time to kind of focus on that. But then on the other hand, you start winning a lot, the lodge is going to become aggressive towards you. Also, now you have to deal with everything attacking you. Alright, so we are going to look at our evocations really quick. Again, I'm not going to hold up the miniatures for all of them. They're showing up in places. So the Black Rose Wars evocations on the back. So we have our 8 Langerschneets. So just go 1 through 8. They have the same as stats on all of them. So they have -3. Zooming on this. So if you have -3 Perilium, so if the Black Rose is 3 points ahead of you, this guy will not attack you. They have 2 movement, 2 attack, and 3 health. We have our 3 Bone Knights, who only attack you if you're at 0. So if you're falling behind at all, they won't attack you. 2 movement, 4 attack, 5 health. If the Bone Knight doesn't reach you at all, all Lannister can move 1 step towards you. So these guys are pretty dang powerful. We have our 3 Malakota, who only attack you if you're 1 above. Move 1, attack 5, health 5. If there's a single Malakota in play, its movement is 2. So as long as there's not another one taking up the board. We have our 3 Andromedas, who go at -5, so they're basically always going to activate, because if you never go below -5, so they have 2 movement, 1 attack, 4 health. At the end of their movement, places 1 instability. So you kind of want to take these guys out as quickly as you can, so you're not getting all that instability all the time. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. We have our 5 mutant altars, who again are always going to activate, but they have no movement, no attack to 7 health. But instead of acting, they place instability. So again, probably going to want to take these guys out pretty quick. The 5 divine altars, who have -2, so 0, 0, and 6, but instead of acting, they rose it to 1. So the different ones there, those last 3 you're going to want to try and get rid of. And then we have 3 of the Cerebros, who have -1. 2 movement, 4 attack, 6 health. Every time Cerebro attacks, it heals 1 damage to itself. And then finally, if you might summon the Infamy of Creek, who only attacks if you're above by 3, so he's not going to attack very much. He has a special thing that doesn't have a number, because there's only 1 of him, so you're not going to be able to, they didn't bother to assign a point system to him, because he's always going to be himself. So he has 2 movement, 8 attack, 8 health. Every time Infamy of Creek enters a room, place 1 instability on it. So he's going to definitely get to move around and do some extra damage. Just take a look at our quests. So our quests are going to look the same on the back. Nothing different there. We'll have the different moons, different phases for each one. So there's, I think, 5 for each. 1, 2, 3, 4, yeah, 5 for each one. Alright, so we have Scavenge Knowledge to activate the Biblioteca room. Instead of the normal effect, search the library and draw 2 cards. Black Rose Revenge. Activate the Black Rose room. If there may not be any Black Rose evocations in the room to complete this quest, instead of the normal effect, destroy 2 evocations. So if you don't want to draw a forgotten card or have to discard to do it, maybe you don't have enough to discard at the time, you can go ahead and just destroy some evocations. Open the gates for the garden. Instead of the normal room effect, place 1 instability in the garden and 1 adjacent room. Hide behind the throne. For the throne room, instead of the normal effect, set your program to -5 until the end of the current turn. So instead of dropping it by 1, you can drop it to 5, so you shouldn't trigger most of the guys. And then finally, we have Animate the Dead in the cemetery, summoning a Langersnix and an axe immediately. For the Half Moon, we have Retrieve Equipment in the Forge. Discard 2 cards from your hand instead of the normal room effect. Move 2 and attack twice, or activate a room. Come over here. In the arena, you must have 6 health or left instead of the normal room. Shift 2 evocations into your room. Reveal a spell. One of the 2 evocations attacks you. So you can kind of pull them into the room and have them attack you. 2 evocations to your room. Reveal a spell. One of the 2 evocations attacks you. I wonder if by reveal it means also cast it. Shape the future in the observatory. Instead of the normal room effect, reveal 3 quests and draw 1 of them. Power of the Black Rose, activating the Black Rose room. There may not be any evocations to complete this quest. Instead of the normal room effect, just draw a forgotten spell. And then we have Tales from the Crypt. In the Crypt, you may not be any undead evocations in this room or any adjacent ones. Complete this quest, remove 2 undead or 1 demon. So it'll help you get rid of some stuff. And then in the Full Moon, we have Pleasure or Pain. Activate the Pleasure room. There may not be any Black Rose evocations in this room to complete this quest. Instead of the normal room, effect, draw 2 quests. Browse the Grimoire. There may not be any in the laboratory, mapping evocations to complete this quest. Instead of the normal, you may draw 4 cards from your Grimoire. Careful Search. In the Oracle room, there may not be any evocations to complete this quest. Instead of the normal effect, search and draw 2 cards from your Grimoire. So Crystal Jungle in the Mirrors room. may not be any evocations in the room. Instead of the normal room effect, copy the effects of 2 rooms without evocations in them. And then the last one is the Treasure of the Rose for the Black Rose. May not be any evocations. Instead of the normal effect, nothing happens. So you just complete it for 5 points, though. So those are the quests. So, much different than some of the other ones in the regular game where you're trying to, like, maybe, like, activate 2 traps or play 2 combat spells or do this or that. They're just basically activating rooms. I think the reason they simplified them for the reason is because since you have a pre-made deck, it might be too hard to be, I have to have 2 combat spells or 2 things. Over the course of a regular game, you could, I say I have a quest, I need an extra spell card, or extra trap card, or extra combat, or I need 2 fire elements. You could choose to pick those cards up, or at least go after a spell deck that might have them, where this, you don't have that option. Or on the alternative fact, if you're crafting your deck, you could craft your deck way too specific to take advantage of some of these. So yeah, here's just a bunch of activating rooms. It's very, very interesting. Alright, then we have our event cards. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of each of them. Sorry, we're going to take a look at these. So we have in our Crescent Moons, our first moon, we have the Beast on a Plate. So summon 1 Cerebro in a red room of your choice. Every time you activate a room, Cerebro must move 1 step towards you. If he ends up in your room, he attacks you. If you defeat them, you gain 2 points and you discard this card. So yeah, you get possibly 3 times to do that. But yeah, so every time you activate a room, you're going to attack. This kind of a neat idea. Here we have Dire and Hell. Summon 1 Malakota in the room adjacent to your mage's position. Discard all cards or Malakota in the lodge. Act immediately if present. So then defeat a Malakota, gain 2 extra points. Attack of the Clone. Summon 2 Andromedas in 2 blue rooms of your choice. Each Andromeda in play puts 2 instability in the room where they are located. Action, it doesn't know. So activate all blue rooms. Interesting. So you have to activate multiple blue rooms. Interesting. Then gain 2 Perelium. 9 locks. No evocation spawn. All red rooms, green rooms, and gray rooms are activated, and then flip the tokens. No objective on that one. And then we have Mutilation of Roses. Summon 2 Mutant Ulkers in the Black Rose room and 1 Mutant Ulker in the green room that is not unstable. Each Mutant Ulker in play puts 2 instability in the room where they are located. Oh, dang. Activate a Mutant Ulker to grant an instability. Activate. I wonder if they mean defeat a Mutant Ulker or activate the room. Kind of an odd choice on text there. Alright, then we have one of these. We have the half moons. So we have the Knight and his henchmen. Summon 3 Langersnicks in 3 different gray rooms, 1 Bone Knight in the Black Rose room. All the Black Rose and undead evocations move 1 step closer to the mage. If they enter his room, attack. Destroy a Bone Knight. Hailing a bad place. Summon 3 Malakota in 3 different red rooms. Summon a Malakota in the red room if available. Destroy 2 Malakota. Mutilating Thorns. No evocation spawn. Place 5 instability in the Black Rose room. Place 3 instability in a room where at least 2 are already present. It's an instant effect, so it just goes away. The Divine Black Rose. Summon a Divine Altar in a room adjacent to your mage's position, and summon a Divine Altar in a room of your choice. Rose gains 1 for each altar in play, including Mutant Altars. So destroy 2 Divine Altars to gain 3 points. And then 9 Burning Locks, no evocation spawn. All blue, yellow, and purple rooms activate. Flip their tokens. If you're in one of those rooms, take 4 damage. Then for our full moon, we have He Runs, He Kills. Summon 1 Infamy of Crete in the Black Room. Every step you take, the Infamy of Crete moves a step closer to you. Destroy the Infamy of Crete for 5 points. So Grimoire Explosion. No evocation spawn. Remove the first 5 cards of your Grimoire. Oh, dang. And then place 4 instability in the room you are in. The Keeper of the Black Rose. Summon 1 Cerebro in the Black Rose room. The room that contains the Cerebro cannot be activated. Every time you cast a spell, all Cerebros act. Destroy 1 for 3 points. And the story ends. Summon 2 mutant altars in 2 different green rooms and 2 divine altars in 2 different yellow rooms. Place 1 instability in each room with an altar. Pay 1 for each altar in play. And then destroy 3 altars to gain 4 points. And the last one is From Death They Rise. Summon 2 Landersnitz in each gray room. All Black Rose undead evocations move 1 step closer to the mage. If they enter his room, they attack. Destroy 4 of them to gain 5 points. So yeah, what's interesting there is because like, how do some of these effects work, right? So like, the first part is when the card's first revealed, they're going to summon that many guys. So let's jump back to one of these ones with like Malcode on it. So like right here, so when this card first summons, the first card is going to summon 3 Malacoda in 3 different red rooms, and it's to summon a Malacoda in a red room if available. We've already summoned 3 of them, so it's not going to happen. But on the next phase, if you manage to destroy one, it's going to summon another one. And if it gets to the third one, it'll summon another one. So that's how some of these are going to keep going. Yeah, if you keep getting some have multiple things where they're going to keep acting. So that's kind of neat. And then there's only 5 of them, so if for some reason you haven't passed one of the thresholds to go to the next deck by the time you hit that 6th card, you're just going to reshuffle them back up and draw them again, if there's any available. And the fact is there's 5 cards, there could be potentially 3 out, and you're drawing the 4th one, so you might be recycling some to keep summoning them. So that's a pretty interesting way to play the game with the solo mode. I did do a quick look at the Inferno rulebook to see if you could potentially use those guys, because they use a little Perillium and aggressive tokens as well. The thing is, they are summoned with the activation deck of Luciferio. So the only way to do it is you'd almost have to basically be like, oh, I'm going to play his activation deck and use that every turn. Like during a mage's turn or something, I can summon one of them just to activate to summon a guy. And then they could activate versus the Perillium if you wanted to add all them extra demons to make a more harder solo mode. But there would be no way to have anything that interacts with them like these cards do, so there wouldn't be anything there. So you just add more extra guys in there. And since they're all demons, there's no effects in here that affect the demon category specifically. So yeah, I think solo mode's a really cool idea for playing against the Black Rose, where and you have a bunch of miniatures and evocations you're playing against. It's against a wave of enemies, as opposed to like how Rebirth and eventually Revise is going to do the avatar system, where you're essentially just playing against an AI-controlled player. The AI-controlled player, the avatar, is a really cool idea because you are, they get to summon all their evocations, but you're doing all the same stuff you're doing, basically. They have little extra cards. They get to play their action decks, so depending on what avatar you're fighting, if you're fighting just like the possessed one from the core Rebirth game, they just act as like a generalized mage. But if you start fighting against like Gaia or Hyperion or some of the other bigger guys they can create, then they have specialized decks and they're doing their own little extra thing. And there's some really cool ones, like Odin gets special extra stuff he gets to do. So they can make some really neat interactions there. I almost wouldn't even mind if they upgraded this solo mode. In the idea of like, if I want to play with one player, I don't have to play just against another full mage. When I'm playing against the Black Rose and summoning massive evocations. Because the regular avatars, they might summon a guy here, summon a guy there, they might activate a room that summons something, but they're not just, this is like hordes of enemies coming after you. But it'd also be kind of neat if there is some way, and I don't know how they would do it, the point system, and because they have each color for each different model, but if you start including all the stuff from Rebirth, the Duels games, like the Rotos Kickstarter box, the SATOR Kickstarter box, plus anything in the Tenant Kickstarter box, it's coming for the revised edition. You wouldn't have enough of the little tokens to add to everything, plus the idea of you're going with the new system using little bases. So you have to find some other different way to like decide who gets to do what. But of course you have all the different colored rings for all the different characters. You could even use them as well. Like the base game plus the 5-6 player expansion would give you 6 different colored rings, right? So you could even have oh, here, you just put a different colored ring on the bottom of each guy to kind of keep track of them. Maybe something like that might work. Like you put the black ones on yours for your, like normally the avatar would have them. You put them on your characters, and then all the other 6 different colors from the up to the 5-6 player expansion could be for the different summons. But yeah, there could be some different interesting stuff there. It'd be kind of neat. But again, having stuff that covers, it's always hard to create things that cover every single different expansion. Because not everyone's going to own everything. So also then you have all these cards for characters they don't own. So it's kind of the downside there. But that's what we have for this SATOR expansion. If you haven't watched all the other little mini expansions there, go back, definitely check them out. Check out the core box. If you want to see the differences between the 2 different cards, the reprints between the SATOR box and the core set, come back, check out that video. See you guys later. Bye.